and any potential non-humans watching. Gita Rose here. Thank you for tuning in. Today's video is about creating our memories from the present. Traditionally, in the way that we are taught to believe, our experience is linear. Most of us are in the conceptualizing, in the knowing of the concept that there's just the one moment, it's all here now, all that is could ever be experiencing itself from the infinite directions, from the infinite standpoints. And we're trained to believe that our past creates the present and dictates the future. As many of us know, this isn't actually true. This isn't actually how it's working. This has been something that Bashar, channeled by Darryl Anka, talks about a lot and is talking about more. Bella is also talking about this, and there's been different synchronicities that have aligned from my perspective of things that she's been talking about and then get echoed by what Darryl is bringing through. I will also state, for the record, once again, I am in no way officially affiliated with Bashar Communications, and I send my unconditional love to those involved if they are potentially seeing this. So I'm just chilling out today, being a little, real, keeping it real, having my tea, little tea time with Gita, gabbing with Gita happening right now. Because this is something for me that is kind of new in regards to having experiences that are affirming for me this concept, but beginning to experience it in emotional bodies, in my experience of reality. And it's new, and I'm still bringing through language, but this has been increasing more and more, different ways that I'm aligning with experience to affirm this concept for me, that we're actually creating our memories in the now. And within the last few weeks, I'm getting these wisps of feelings and different sensations that I'm realizing in my mind, in my heart, that I'm like, I'm a different version. So I'm just sharing because I think a lot of us are beginning to open up to the inner standing of this concept, and it feels relevant for a lot of us moving forward to begin to remember different aspects of ourselves and also different aspects of any potential interactions that we may have had with the very specific type of grays and with the different branches of the hybrid family tree. Bella talks a lot about how many of us don't have memory of our experiences. I think especially those of us from a slightly newer generation don't have memory. And this has been really strategically and specifically done on all of our parts, and the part of our higher selves and the beings involved as well in our soul lines, very specifically strategically done so that we can align with the most preferred past for the sake of story. So as it's come through me via Bella, she clearly explains to people that most individuals who are attracted to representatives from this hybrid lineage, different contact specialists, we're attracted to them because on some level we have some type of agreement with the hybrid program, or one version of us does. And we are still in this now, getting to choose the his or her story that we most prefer. And by having contact with these specialists in our now, we are able to activate our most preferred frequency, relaxing into our most preferred frequency that has always existed. And then from there, we align with different experiences that may have happened in what we define as a past. And it's really relevant for this specific brand of program, of this mythology of lineage, because the story is so relevant in regards to this very specific type of gray being an aspect of our denial of our shadow, of the ultimate mirror that we are able to have interaction with. And by knowing that and integrating and understanding that as part of our story in this now, we can then more easily align with different versions of a past, specifically for the sake of storytelling, so that these ideas, these concepts, these frequencies can be offered to our society in a way where it can be more easily digestible, because it's got a good story to it, where you're like, oh, spend time looking at my feelings, maybe turn off the computer, go for a walk, listen to a tree. Like, it's good stuff. Regardless of what you feel is actually true, it's applicable. And they've talked about this for years, and I've talked about it before. So I understand, I understand, I can feel the importance of aligning with these different versions of our perceived past. And I can feel the importance of us understanding, knowing, experiencing this concept. But I know for me, I'm like, I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand the language that they're saying, but like, a what? Like, well, it could be so slight that what you thought was always your memory may not have always been your memory, because you're flipping out of all these infinite frames, and it can be so slight that how would you ever know if this was actually your memory or not? Like, what the fuck? Like, I think a lot of us are like, blah, 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 like, I understand what you're saying, but like, blah, 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 what? Excuse me? And I think that's the point, right? Is to get us to shake it up a little bit, and to almost rattle us so much that it's like, like, whatever, cool, sure. Like, I really feel that I'll get what I need to get when I need to get it. Like, sure. Just gonna follow my joy in the moment. Recently, within the past week, like I've said, things have escalated in this very subtle way for me, where I am feeling sensations of almost remembering something. Seeing an individual's face. This is something that happened this morning. I went for a walk, saw an individual's face. He was a PG&E guy. And he reminded me of someone, but I couldn't place who. And it was subtle and had this quality to it where I was aware that I was like flipping through this Rolodex of different potential beings of who this individual reminded me what I was remembering, but then it didn't stick. It just floated away. And I was left with the awareness of like, oh, there was that sensation again. Like, interesting. And more so than needing to figure it out was just like, oh, there was that interesting collecting awareness of this present moment. And then I was like, oh, interesting too, this guy's like working on the power and like reconnecting things. There was a synchronicity in who this person was as a character in my story. Other things, again too, like I'm still experiencing this, and I'm just sharing with you guys what I've experienced the last couple weeks. And it's something very new for me as well. I had a moment too where I was driving home And this happens to me a lot because I am very much in the practice of bringing myself back to appreciation, bringing myself back to awareness of the present moment and appreciation for what I have. There's times where I'm still shocked that I have a car. I'm shocked that I have this really beautiful apartment, the studio, and like I'm so grateful for the things that I have. And sometimes like I really do like come back around like a fish in its bowl, and I'm like, oh, appreciation. But it had a different quality to it. It was like, again, I could feel the Rolodex of different potentials. Like I saw different cars, but not fully. It was foggy, and it happened really fast, or different versions of me not having a car. And it wasn't like actually getting clear pictures of the scenario. And it was really like 10 seconds. But again, it's this feeling, this sensory experience of being aware of the present moment, being aware that I'm in the process of translating and really understanding this concept for me. And then it was gone. Then I had another one where the other day, and in this moment, it's funny, like I'm like, what was I actually doing when this came through? I think I was just sitting in my bed. I was just like taking a minute, relaxing, and I had a memory of being in a forest. And it was really beautiful. It felt really magical and full of color and light. And I couldn't remember exactly where it was. It was something that felt real, right? Like not from a dream. And it was almost like I could almost grab it. I could almost like, it's right on the tip of my tongue, right? It's like almost right there. And I had the realization again, oh, it's the same feeling. It's the same present now moment shifting, being aware of one of many shifts, being aware then of different pasts that are a match. Just had the feeling, had the awareness, oh, okay, and like let it flow. And the sensation of these moments feels like, again, when you're remembering someone's name, perhaps, or the name, you know, the title of something, and it's like right on the tip of your tongue. Like you can almost like, you can feel it coming through your filters. Or the sensation of remembering a dream, like holding on to the little thread of a dream and like pulling it back. And all you need is like one image or like one sensation. And like, for me, it feels like at least then I can like pull the thread through and I'm like, oh, bing, like there's the dream. And it's the same sensation with memories or remindings or rememberings. But I have yet to have the experience of fully pulling the thread through and fully having the awareness of the details of whatever experience I'm connecting to. And this feels like very much part of the point, like the point from my higher self to me, is to train me to be aware of the sensation of the realization that the experience is happening at all. And this is something that we do all the time. Like we're doing it constantly. But now it's becoming relevant for us to, it's like catching it. You're like, oh, that's what it feels like. You're like, oh, I caught that wave, or I caught that shift. It's become relevant for us for a variety of different reasons, but I think so that mainly we start to connect to different experiences so we can have different stories to begin to share in all of our different ways. And I was asking my higher self and asking Bella, like, whoa, this is like fun. Like I want more. Like I want to remember more. I want to get it. I want to feel it. I want to experience it. Like, give me more. She's like, no. I'm like, no. The process is the journey. Be excited about the process. You're not going to jump all the way to point Z. There's all of these fun things in between. And I felt that there are like specific activities that will come through to help me and those of us solidify and crystallize and begin to fully understand this experience and begin to have conscious control over choosing and picking and aligning with different versions. But what I was given as a model, an idea, an activity to work with for this now was that I am constructing my most preferred filter or like a sift, and for me to begin to really think about what do I want it to look like? Like how big do I want the holes? How much information do I want to allow through? I know that I don't want a colander. Like I'm like, that's too much. That's too many potentials. That's too many sensations. That's too many feelings. That's too many timelines. That's too much. Do I want like a cheesecloth? No. Like that just feels limiting. That just feels weird. And so I'm kind of working with like a nice strainer, you know? Like, but even still within strainers, within those metal baskets, like there's a lot of variation of how big your holes can be, like how much you can let through. So I'm somewhere in between like a very soft, very small hole strainer and something that's like a little bit bigger, like the kind where you're like almost gonna like it almost you're like kind of scared that you'll scratch your finger on it because they're kind of big. Once again, like I'm just totally talking and being very authentic with my process of where I am in regards to really integrating this concept, and I so fully trust that it will be a benefit to people because I choose to trust and to know that. A lot of us, I feel, are really excited about further understanding, having further experiences, and knowing that this is how reality works. And by talking about it and sharing our experiences, and by me offering a bit of what the sensation has been like for me, I think it will aid people and helps me to continue to take action and be like, okay, cool, like thanks me, thanks higher self, thanks universe, like let's continue to explore this reality. I've also been able to feel, it's almost like a clairsentient, clairaudient, clairsensory experience of like different timeline, like being with that different boyfriend. But it's not, again, you can't fully grasp onto it. And then also seeing, this is why I went to that specific experience, because in that moment I actually saw, I was looking at, this was just a minute ago, I was putting on a little bit of makeup in the mirror and I felt this like, oh, that was a different reality if I was like still with that individual, like, whoo, and there's still this contract and this dance and this like relationship, and then it was gone, and then I looked at myself and there was actually like this really slight shift in the mirror. Whoa. Okay. And just like let it through, let it flow, like I'm still figuring out how big my strainer needs to be. Cool. So offering just a bit of, again, my experience and perhaps a little bit of advice to begin to play with these feelings and these sensations, bringing ourselves back to the moment of appreciation, having an experience of, as Bella says, the moment in between. There's frames within the frames where we can anchor and connect ourselves back to the awareness of our awareness and allow ourselves to appreciate our awareness of the awareness. It's kind of, to me, I think it's hilarious. It's like this hilarious, like positive Pollyanna spiral. But she says that it really does allow us to stay in this frequency where more and more and more can truly align with us. And for me, this has been the key that is opening the door to give me more of these specific type of experiences in regards to feeling these different timelines and actually feeling myself shifting into different versions and beginning to remember, align with different versions of a past. So have fun, and I'm going to continue to play with my idea of the filter, of the strainer, but don't strain yourself too much. This is happening in its own time, and have fun again with kind of feeling spun around in circles and turning ourselves inside out, because that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for watching this video. A huge thank you to my new subscribers this week. Thank you to those of you who continue to support my journey thus far. I sincerely appreciate it. If you like, you can like, subscribe, and hit the bell, ding dong, if you would like notifications when I post videos. Have a be you to the fullest week. Our minds may be different, our bodies may be different, but it is through our hearts that we know our spirits are one. Aloha!